do believe and agree with what Wenger said. Once you get to 23, 24, you are getting to that scenario with what you see is what you get. So when is the penny going to drop? If I'm PSG, I'm trying to be greedy. You know, they're going to get Yandy on Monday. They're getting that lad from Monaco. They've got a bunch of attackers. You know, the riches that we'd all take all of their attackers in it. I'd be looking to keep Barcola. Initial reports this summer said he had a year left on his deal. I think this article says it here. He's contracted until 2028. So they've got 2 years to convince him. They could sell him next summer, essentially. Yandy Diamande's protracted move to PSG might have implications for Barcola's future. Barcola's current deal with the Champions League holders expires in the summer of 2028, meaning any move for the winger would cost significantly less than Rodgers, whose Villa contract runs until 2031. If PSG are willing to listen to offers for Barcola this summer, then Arsenal will be among the clubs keen, with Liverpool also believed to be tracking him. Meanwhile, Arsenal also have a strong interest in Leeds goalkeeper Elie Emilier. I think he's shit. If I'm honest, I think he's shitter than Kepa. Fair enough, free transfer, 26 years of age. You know, I do think he's one of the youngest players to record 11 clean sheets. I don't think he's significantly improved since he still plays like a teenager. He's a decent shot stopper and he's got good height, but commanding from crosses, promoting calmness to the back line, ball playing, I just think he's got a mistake in him. I technically think he leaves Leeds he was their first choice keeper once upon a time. He's their third choice. I'll give everybody a chance. I understand if it's a market opportunity, it's difficult to find, you know, a backup keeper. I just don't rate him, people, at all, if I'm honest with you. And Mikel Arteta, I'm not going to lie. If we get to a League Cup final, Ryan needs to play every game possible, man, unless it's the last game of the season. There is a doubt over current second-choice keeper Kepa's future heading into next season. We know him and Norgard are going to go, resulting in Arsenal exploring the market for a replacement. Millier, who lost his place as number one at Leeds, is out of contract this summer, and the 26-year-old is available on a free transfer. Been at Leeds for a number of years. This is said, Arsenal are ready to test PSG's resolve over Bradley Barcola. He started against Sweden. PSG are working on moves for other attackers. They've sold Kang and Lee to Atletico Madrid. Ramos has gone to AC Milan. And Juventus look like they're going to get Kolo Muani. That has given them financial room to work on Diamande and Akalushe while not having to lose Barcola. Are we really smash the like, but are we really doing this for PSG? I understand it don't matter how much money you've got. It's nice to make money in it, and they're getting these players going and making money. But really, they haven't specifically said it, but really, PSG, regardless of if they sell these players or not, they're not struggling financially. They're always going to have financial muscle room and wiggle room, because aren't they getting the Diamande deal sorted regardless of what's going on with Barcola? Barcola, however, has yet to decide his future. He's not inclined to sign a new deal and knows Liverpool are very keen on his signature. Liverpool wanted him last year. Arsenal have discussed Morgan Rogers at Villa, but they're reluctant to sell and will point to a British transfer record figure if pushed. Equally, PSG would want a similar fee for Barcola if he tries to force their hand to go. So 100+ million for both. Arsenal's pattern under Berta is to run parallel negotiations until deals fall into place. Similarly, they have bid for Newcastle's Bruno Guimaraes, but have inquired for Alex Scott. They've also been offered Club Brugge winger Zolis and spoken to the reps of Bayern Leverkusen's Kerem Alabegovic, who I think Bayern Leverkusen actually brought him back. Very talented 18, 19-year-old. Crucially here, Arsenal are looking to bring in around 4 new players, but all of high quality. So you've got to be prepared to pay the fees. Barcola certainly fits the bill, but the Gunners believe he would be keen to join, but they won't be the only suitors. I mean, pretty girls, everybody wants them in it. We're not going to be alone for Rodgers, Barcola, Nico Williams, this one, that one, and the third people. So cracking on. Arsenal given encouragement to sign 116 million Liverpool target instead of Morgan Rogers. Where's this encouragement? Okay, so you're just regurgitating the same thing we saw the BBC's article. Anyone having Antonio Nusa? Reactionary, but we have been linked with him before. One of the articles won't load, people, but apparently Leipzig want to let him go for 60-odd million. Reactionary, but we have been linked with him. Had a decent game against Ivory Coast and scored an electric kind of goal. I'm sure Odegaard could give a good character reference. And he is a right-footed left winger, really and truly. So if, you know what, bring me Morgan Rogers and Nusa, really, if I'm honest, if there's anything around Barcola. I think Rogers could force his way out of Aston Villa. It won't be easy. I think PSG want to keep Barcola for another season, and he would have to really kick up a fuss. Nusa was at the Emirates, people, visiting our stadium in January. Now, he could have just been in London and thought, let me catch a game, but maybe there's something there. Obviously, we've gone over Millier. The 26-year-old's been linked with us. Odegaard, you know, big him up. Norway are flying in the World Cup. He's just the third player since 1966 to provide an assist in each of his 3 World Cup appearances. And you know what? Brazil, Norway, Gabriel Magalhaes against Haaland is going to be great. And I think, yesterday for Norway was confirmation people don't watch football. Because, yeah, Haaland weren't really scoring goals and that, and he did score the goal that took them through, but he put in a fucking effort defensively. I'll give him that. Odegaard, you had some good moments where you look threatening, but you probably should have had a goal and assist, in my opinion. So commiserations to Gyökeres. You know, that's the end of the World Cup journey for him. Relevant but irrelevant. I found it quite interesting that Ajax can confirm that Jaros, Tomiyasu, and Zinchenko will leave the club when their contract expires June 30th. Tomiyasu just got there. Zinchenko definitely just got there in January. Anyone want to spin it back for Tomiyasu? Obviously, where you think of Tommy, there's injuries. Not sure what that is, people. Sky Sports have said Alex Scott now appears to be a two-horse race between Man United and Arsenal. However, Bournemouth still don't want to sell him and would rather he sign a new contract. He'd be a dream for both of them. He'd be good. You know, Man United's a massive club. Arsenal's a big club. It would make sense. I do look at it with a pinch of salt, though, because, I mean, it's, you know, we've inquired, and I'm sure everybody's inquired. But he's got 2 years left on his deal. He's on the cusp of England. Obviously, if you're, you know, Alex Scott's camp, you're going to put feelers out into the media. Oh, United want him, Arsenal want him, Chelsea want him, this one want him, you know, where contract negotiations are rumbling. My guess is he signs a new deal with that release clause, if I'm brutally honest. Okay, this is being an enemy of progress, as is this. Okay, well, for some reason you're not loading. Fabrizio Romano has revealed that Arsenal are making very good progress on a certain aspect of Morgan Rogers' deal, but Aston Villa's asking price remains high. We know we're looking to strengthen in certain areas. Martinelli and Trossard could be on the move again. You know what? I'd like us to be linked with some new names because it is just Barcola and Morgan Rogers. Let's see exactly what Romano said. Arsenal also have an interest in Barcola, but their number one option remains Morgan Rogers. For Rogers, Aston Villa want to put a price around 130 million to let him leave this summer. Villa are aware of Arsenal's interest and of interest from other clubs, including Chelsea. But in this moment, Arsenal have made very good progress on the player side for some time. And so Arsenal keep pushing for Rogers. Rogers is on the list. Sorry, Barcola is on the list. But for Rogers, this depends on the price because Aston Villa want 130 million. But Arsenal hope to find a way to negotiate, maybe with add-ons, maybe with a different structure. Arsenal hope to be creative in order to find a solution for Rogers. I mean, we got to sell some players then, because if you were to bite the bullet and spend 130 million, maybe if you get Trossard, Martinelli, Gabriel Jesus, Reece Nelson, Fabio Vieira, and whatever collective transfer fee you get and wage resources you get, that might give you some wiggle room to just, you know, to just bite the bullet, essentially, if I'm brutally honest. I like Nusa of Norway, man. I'd have him, man. What a finish from Nusa, by the way. Guy tends to stand out every time I watch him, which admittedly isn't much. At this rate, City is going to buy the Prem this summer. Morning social. DJ, has the market ever had this much activity during the World Cup before? I may have a short memory, but this kind of feels wild. I agree. I don't want to jump the gun and say, no, it hasn't. But it feels like I agree with you, if it makes sense. Said this every window when we go in for a player. The market is inflated, but when we sell, it's a different story. It's a big racket for the right club. It pays to be smart. Brighton, Bournemouth, Brentford, I'd say Crystal Palace. The last one at the moment probably going to be Adam Wharton, maybe the Manus guy. You get these players in, jump the market, they're sold for silly money. It's the same with Kvaratskhelia. His agent said I offered him to every major team in Europe, so that includes us. No one wanted him for 10 million. He went Napoli, did his thing. PSG were prepared to bite the bullet and pay whatever. Bob's your uncle, essentially. And even that, man, we need to find a Doué or Mahrez, these kind of guys, like when they're emerging, man. I don't know how PSG sold Ramos for that price. I wish we could sell our unwanted players that well. This is what, but I think that's a big mandate for Berta, if I'm honest. Nusa, Doué, or Barcola for left wing. Need some flair down that side. You know we ain't getting Doué, man. If we were to get Doué, we'd probably get his brother that was playing fullback for Ivory Coast, which he had a good game in their defeat to Norway. Arsenal should go and steal United keeper Lemens, stop them building. Yeah, it's not going to work because they're not going to sell him. Lemens a decent keeper. Actually, United have got a keeper that can catch, you know, which the Turkish lad they had in Onana couldn't. Why would you come to Arsenal and be second choice? Because you're not getting ahead of Rayo. You don't make sense. If we sign Bruno G and Rogers, Villa and Newcastle supporters will lose it because they want their clubs to win major trophies. They see Arsenal as a rival. No to Tomiyasu, keep it moving. Sadiq, every fan wants his or her club to win trophies. I really rated Tomiyasu. He could have been something special, same with Kivio. I rated Tomiyasu a lot more than Kivio. Not going to lie, I think City purposely cooked this market. They know they can pay the fee/wages and other clubs can't, forcing them to take lesser talents or wreck their wage scale elsewhere. I think people can say Arsenal ruined it, Chelsea ruined it many years ago, United ruined it, City ruined it. Obviously, when City are giving centre-backs 300 grand a week, it is what it is, isn't it? So it has been. But this is where it's a game of chicken. Naturally, I can't begrudge. I said this yesterday. I can't begrudge Aston Villa if they're saying, well, that lad went for that much. That lad went for this much. Morgan Rogers, everybody, you lot all want him. You lot all want him. He signed a new deal. He's one of the better players in the Premier League. He's a key player to our project. He's had 2 fantastic seasons. Pay or take it away. It's not the same. And I'm not even saying I necessarily rate Martinelli to this standard, but you look at the fee of, well, who would you argue is better, Anthony Gordon or Martinelli? I think it's a lot closer. They're in the same kind of bracket. Now, I don't know. Gordon might change my thoughts with what he does at Barcelona. Big up Newcastle for hustling Barcelona for 80 million. I couldn't begrudge Arsenal if they sat there and said, we want 70, 80 for Martinelli. He's a Premier League winner. He's a Premier League winner. He's an international footballer. He scored in big games. The market is the market now, bro. Everybody's got money, whether it's because of TV rights, clubs like Brighton, Brentford, Bournemouth, being very smart, getting these players, getting stability in the Prem, selling them for profits. You can't bully clubs. Go back to the early 2000s. Man United are not paying Leicester 80 million for Maguire. We're not paying 105 million for Declan Rice, etc., etc. And even the Elliot Anderson thing, it's interesting because obviously my initial bias is I do think there's the transfer market's cooked. But if anything, you do want to pay a bit more on the match winners, the attackers. But then flipping my own logic, you could argue, obviously, Declan Rice is better than Elliot Anderson, but these are engine men in the middle of the park. You know, there's a level of consistency and you know what you're going to get. You could argue that's inflated, yes, but less of a risk than 130 on Morgan Rogers, 100 on Vert, this one, that one on the third, if I'm honest. It's only going to get worse, man. And I think we've got a couple more years of this. And then, honestly, players will always move for transfer fees, but honestly, there'll be even more free transfers. That might be the only way. Like, if you're a player, really and truly, and an advisor, better yet, an agent, are you really, these Barcolas, Morgan Rogers, this one, that one, all these kind of household names, you're not trying to get, the clubs are going to try and get you to sign a 4 or 5 year deal. You're not on that. If I'm an agent, I'm trying to get these guys to sign 3-year deals. And that's why I think Aston Villa also smart in November to tighten their negotiation. And I don't know it. On one hand, it feels Alex Scott might leave Bournemouth. On another hand, it feels like he might sign a release clause. If I'm an agent, you're getting them to sign 3-year deals. Why? Because within the next, if my client signed a 3-year deal today, 12 months, 18 months, we're already at that halfway point. Are we getting a new deal? Are we getting more money? And that's another thing, because one thing is these clubs pricing their players, quote unquote, out of moves. I don't know how much Morgan Rogers is on, but you're going to have to pay him like a £130 million player. Now, Rogers has shot himself in the foot by that logic, because November he signed a new deal. And as much as you scream, shout, you could do the mercenary thing, end of the day, you're contracted 4 or 5 years, and you're going to have to get on with it at some point, people. What else has Romano said? Arsenal had a bid rejected a few days ago for Bruno Guimaraes. Arsenal also made a call for Scott. A conversation with Bournemouth took place. The message sent by Bournemouth is, we don't need money. Already sold many players over the last 12 months, so we want to continue with Scott. And they're offering Scott a new contract with the possibility to include a release clause for a future exit. So at the moment, it's difficult to get Scott. There are still 2 months ahead, so we have to understand what's going to happen in terms of conversations if some clubs, including Arsenal, want to try again. Makes me think, should we have just, got Semenyo in January and then maybe we're just talking about Rodgers? I don't know, people. But at the moment, the situation with Alex Scott is Bournemouth want to keep him. Bournemouth received a call from Arsenal, but at the moment, they're not advancing, people. So make of that what you want. Allegedly, Bruno Guimaraes has given Arsenal permission to continue discussing a possible transfer with Newcastle United through intermediaries, people. Negotiations have started. Obviously, there's been talk of verbal offers of around 60-odd million quid. The Daily Mail reported that Arsenal are weighing up a second bid for Guimaraes, who's currently at the World Cup competing with Brazil. He is contracted until he is 29 years of age. I think he's got 2 years left on his contract. So, yeah, age might place a factor. But I'm sorry, 28, 29, it's not 99, is it, people? Why are you lot hating on me? Okay. And Antonio Nusa is a key player for Norway and an important figure for RB Leipzig. He's not considered untouchable this summer, but Leipzig would prefer to keep the 21-year-old. Asking price is 60 million euros or more. Now, Leipzig made it difficult for United to get Sesko. They made it difficult for us where we walked away. However, one thing remains clear. Leipzig need to make a major sell for financial reasons. No offers have come in for Lukeba yet, and the club is still determined to keep Diamande. So do we pivot away from Morgan Rogers? I think it's more so Barcola. Do we pivot away from Barcola and then get Nusa, assuming it's for 60 million euros? That gives you a bit of money to play with and be very aggressive for Morgan Rogers. You offset that with some sales, whether that is Who do we expect to leave? I think Norgard goes. And again, every little helps, whether it's from wages or a man sold for 2 million. But Norgard's gone. Kepa's gone. One of Martinelli or Trossard's gone. Probably Trossard, if I'm brutally honest. Gabriel Jesus, if we get 20 million, that's been the asking price rumours, fair enough, but it's more the wages. Nelson, we just need to get him gone. Whatever in it, like 5 million, massive sell-on clause, the wages are gone. Fabio Vieira, the same. You add that together, and maybe some other sales, maybe a Ben White or something. You got some money to play around with, but all depends how you look at it. Manchester City, apologies, may currently have the edge over their rivals in the pursuit of Lille midfielder Bouardi, according to Ben Jacobs. No clue on the credibility of Ben Jacobs. Bouardi of Morocco is a player that they, City, are looking at very closely. Man United like him. Chelsea and Arsenal have the player on their radar, and Bayern Munich too. And this is a fascinating transfer story because Lille are prepared to sell, but they heavily favour a deal for 2027. Man City have shown they're willing to at least discuss this. That puts forward a loan back or a pre-agreement so the player can do one more season with Lille. It's 80 million at the moment, but could come down for those that say to Lille, loan back or pre-agreement. It's 100 million for other clubs that want an immediate transfer. So that's going to be one to watch. Now, I want Bouardi, don't get it twisted, but we've been priced out of Tonali in the sense that we don't think he's really worth that. Bouardi, I can't lie. As much as I wish we could, we need you for next season, innit? So we're just gonna have to charge it to the game. The 100-odd million and loaning him back. No, we need to go into this season. Lewis Skelly, Zubimendi, Rise, somebody else. It's making more sense to get Guimaraes. We might look back and think what could have been. Let's just find the next Bouardi, innit? I think that's madness. There's even been some rumors City are on playing him at right back. So we'll have to see, if I'm brutally honest with that. Arsenal working on 6 transfer deals as bid launched in Andrea Berta plan. Really? 6 transfers. I mean, Nkapie's through the door. Football.London understands that Arsenal season ending at the latest possible opportunity because of their involvement in the Champions League combined with the ongoing World Cup have contributed to their lack of addition so far. Get to the main of it. So we've been linked with Scott, Ajabegovic, Barcola, Rogers, Zolis. So we've been linked with half a dozen players rather than going for them people. I'm not too sure, if I'm honest with you. That article sounded a lot more attractive than in reality. Man City have found a way to get ahead of rivals United, Arsenal, and Chelsea in the race for Bouardi. City keen on Bouardi with possible plan to let him stay at Lyon until the start of 2027-28. Okay. So this is really just regurgitating once again the same thing. Newcastle United now fear Bruno Guimaraes' exit as skipper entourage hooks up with super agent. It does feel, and Hand of Arsenal did allude to this, pardon me, as much as clearly there's been some level of official chattings via a third party with Arsenal and Newcastle for Guimaraes, it's mainly agent stuff forcing the issue. But allegedly, Newcastle United remain braced for contact from Arsenal on their club captain, Bruno Guimaraes, with the player's every move in the United States being followed by his agent, Alexis Malavolta. Malavolta is jetting his way around the States to show his support for Bruno, but was pictured with a key deal maker who's well known to Arsenal following Brazil's win over Japan in Houston, people. Bruno's agent is part of the Bertoli group, which is run by Giuliano Bertulli. There's football super agent who set up deals for Gabriel Magalhaes and David Luiz with Arsenal. Fellow super agent Kai Jarupkin, who's more known, was also pictured with Bruno's man, sparking fears the Toon exit is being plotted. Although the men insist they are simply good friends, Arsenal have not bid for Bruno yet. They have been told the terms of the deal and what it would probably take to snatch the ex-Lyon star from the Magpies. Newcastle Chiefs maintain Bruno was not for sale, but there are growing fears he could go this summer with a second departure in as many summers after, obviously, Isaac went to Liverpool. Talks of Newcastle having the power to extend Bruno's contract by an extra year is unlikely to concern Arsenal Chiefs, who feel a deal could be struck as they have a tipping point in mind. Having failed with a verbal 45 million offer presented by intermediaries, the Gunners believe that 65 million pounds could be enough to clinch Bruno's signature. Whether that proves to be the case and Newcastle stick to their initial stance of not selling Bruno remains to be seen, but questions above Bruno's camp remain. Most notably, whether the Newcastle captain's head has been turned by the interest from the Gunners or other departures from St. James's Park. And again, people, there's been no talk of a new deal for him. It's believed that he's concerned about the project at Newcastle after a couple of big exits. And they're probably, Gordon's gone, Isaac's gone, Tonali looks like he's gone. You never want to be the lad leaving the rave when the lights turn on, people. And I do think Newcastle have a good season next year because whenever they're not in Europe, they do well. I actually think Spurs have an outside chance of Champions League football. Not that I want to say that, people, but this, I mean, these are natural things. Bruno probably, you know, Newcastle had a tough season. You're seeing key players leave. You're question marking the recruitment. Obviously, it's conflicting because I think his daughter was born there. I know you're born in Brazil and you're Brazilian, but you might as well be a Geordie because such as they love you. You achieved history. Obviously, there's a lot of red tape about Newcastle being able to flex their financial muscles. So I would understand this, but this is just certain things he would say anyways. It sounds a bit better. Allegedly, Barcola passed his edition yesterday. I'm not even going to read that. What is this? PSG have reportedly relaxed their transfer stance on Bradley Barcola. Apparently, people having initially ruled out any sell Barcola, it's now being reported that the French giants could be tempted into selling for the right price. Barcola appears reluctant to sign a new deal as he looks to start more games next season. Fresh reports now suggest figures in excess of 116 million that City paid for Elliot Anderson may be considered. So everybody's just saying the same things. When you look at Bradley Barcola's story, first of all, he's coming from Lyon's academy. He made the right choices. When he left, it was not easy for him. He left and he won 2 Champions Leagues in the best team in French football history. Of course, it's challenging when you're competing with Dembele and Doué to start, but he showed every time he came on that he has the same level, maybe not as consistent, but he has the potential. So he's got the potential, but you need that consistency and you need to realize your potential. Dream signing is Kvaratskhelia, man, but unfortunately, the dream is free. The house was sold separately. Smash the like button. Choosing his next destination is about whether he's ready to take a leadership role, because that will be what's expected of him. You just won the Champions League. Any club buying you will expect you to lead them to winning these kind of trophies. This is where he will be challenged. He could fit into any Premier League team. He's a very talented young player, and apparently PSG's reported stance is that he's not for sale. Let's see what's going on with Trossard. Trossard's delayed his transfer decision at Arsenal. Trossard is set to assess his future at Arsenal after the World Cup. The 31-year-old's about to enter the final year of his contract. Besiktas have made Trossard, whom they attempted to sign last September, one of their top summer targets. Sources close to the Turkish club indicate they have made a verbal offer for the winger worth 20 million euros, which equates to 17.25 million. Should the player indicate he's keen on the move, that is the kind of figure Arsenal would deem financially acceptable. For now, Trossard is firmly focused on Belgium's World Cup exploits as they gear up for the last round of 32 clash with Senegal in Seattle. His camp have already made it clear that he does not want distractions during the tournament in North America. He would be keen to see out the final year of his contract at Arsenal, but it's thought to be realistic enough to know that a transfer could well be on the cards as the Gunners are looking to recruit a new left winger, possibly 2. At this stage of his career, he wants to play regularly and has also considered that his next big contract will probably be his last one. He has drawn interest from clubs in Turkey as well as Saudi Arabia. Fenerbahce have also been credited with an interest, as well as Roma. Good players always going to be wanted by that. At the moment, I'm still at Arsenal, so there's not much to say about it. With what he was at, he answered when asked. He did score and help Belgium do their thing as well. What's this? Barcola's future not decided yet, as new deal talks have been on standby for 1 year. Liverpool are very keen. Arsenal have his name on the list as an alternative to top target Rodgers. PSG could let him go only in case of a big proposal. David Ornstein has conflicted what Romano has said. PSG view Bradley Barcola as not for sale, regardless of arrivals, plus reluctant to sign new contract. PSG value 23-year-old much higher than 116 million Manchester City spending on Anderson. Ramos, Lee, Koulibaly exits, create squad and financial space. Boy. It's perfectly possible that Romano and Ornstein have spoken to the same people here and have been told pretty much the same thing, but that Ornstein took it to mean that PSG are sending a hands-off message to suitors, whereas Romano may have taken it as more of a pay-up message. Okay, so moral of the story, the dream is free, the house is sold separately. We was linked with HJULMAND, who plays for Sport, and apparently Arsenal and City may have lost ground. HJULMAND agrees personal terms elsewhere. And apparently he's agreed terms with Atletico Madrid, the Sporting Lisbon captain. Oof. Ain't he got an Arsenal tattoo? Arsenal later emerged as one of the strongest Premier League contenders, as reports in Portugal suggested England had become the midfielder's most likely destination, while interest from Italy faded. Only last week, Portuguese newspaper Ebola poured cold water on reports from Spain that Atletico Madrid have already reached an agreement with HJULMAND, insisting no negotiations are taking place between the player and Diego Simeone's side. So it'd be interesting to see exactly what's going on, but that would be bad news for Arsenal, essentially. No clue on the credibility of this article, but nonetheless, that's what it said. So we've seen Trossard, we've gone over Nusa, we've spoken about Scott, Rodgers, Barcola. It's the same old. Watch our new Mikel Merino documentary. I will, Arsenal, I will. What's come out in the last hour? Arsenal have signed a lad from Ireland, a young player. Don't appear that there's anything new in that regards, people. So, yeah, what are you lot saying in the chat? Roll to 100K. Smash the likes, people. Subscribe. Marcel, you're far too kind. Tommy was basic, competent. Bruno Guimaraes, Rodgers and Nusa free signing sound like a realistic window. Sounds a lot more realistic than some of the ones. Rashford isn't looking too bad of a bite. Nah, I'm not on the Rashford thing. I can't lie to you. The market will reset eventually, but it's going to go up a bit longer. There will be more release clauses. True. Just enjoy the window. Anything can happen. Rashford only sounds tempting because of the price. Don't be swayed. The club can afford to pay